I know the sacrifices a lot of you made. I know the work, the hard work, the risk you took. I was aware of your roles in many polling units when people brought money and you either drove them away or collected the money and did the right thing. So I am very, very clear in my mind how I came back to where I am today. I came back on your back. So have no doubts in your mind. I am on your side, totally on your side. When this crisis started, I had taken some time off to go and rest after a very gruesome electioneering period. But I was in touch. I was always in touch with the deputy and the secretary to government. And our position as government has always been that we are in support of ENDSARS. Because your demands are legitimate. Anybody who says they're not is unpatriotic, does not love Nigeria. You are not asking for anything unusual. It is, we have always argued, and even during my electioneering, I made it clear, we need to fix this country. We have no choice. And we started warning when COVID-19 broke out, that COVID-19 was going to unravel this country, and that it was time that we stopped the indulgence and begin to take ourselves seriously and do things properly. Across the board. I will tell you this, my biggest fear in my elections, my prayer was that they should not tamper with the elections of September 19th. Because if they had done so, this crisis would have started that day. God heard our prayers. So when the crisis started with ENDSARS, I was not surprised at all. We had been anticipating it. Things are not right in Nigeria. We need to fix them. And we have the capacity to fix it. So your position on ENDSARS, on the reform of the police system in this country is spot on. But like somebody said, it is time up for just talking and rhetorics. It is now time to implement. So I have no problems, no issues with your peaceful protests. When you said you were going to protest, very early on, I asked the police to give you protection. I know, I said, I'm going to where I'm going. I am going to where I'm going. I asked the police to give you protection. Okay? So the police have a choice. The command has a choice, either to obey the governor or not. Because the governor doesn't hire or fire the commissioner. So all I can do is to ask them to do what I believe they should do. I have no powers. I have no authority to compel them to ensure that they should do what they are expected to do. That is the basis of the crisis. Accountability of persons in government, persons holding public offices. It's a problem across the board. And I keep saying it. It's only the governor that is held accountable, because every 4 years you have to come and tell people, give them your stewardship based on which you either you have your job or not. After that, very, very few people in this country are held accountable. But that is not where we're going. What we're saying is that there are structural challenges that we must fix. Let us not gloss over the cracks. Let's go to the foundation. and begin to fix this condition because the cracks are expanding so wide that we are not able to paper over them anymore. Unfortunately for us as a country, we are going through a phase that is totally unnecessary because we have gone through this phase before and it did not lead us anywhere. Every state system is created with institutions. To have institutions, particularly in a democracy, you need institutions that will ensure law and order. That is why you have the security services. But when we found ourselves in a situation as we've today, where the security services are not capable, they become incapable of performing their constitutional responsibilities. So the starting point is what you are doing. Talk about it, shout about it. The next point is that we must sit down and now say, look, this is how we now fix it. So it's great what you are doing then at ENDSARS, but we now must move to the next point and leave the streets and say, these are the things we need to do. Let's sit across the table and have firm agreement on how to fix this and when to fix it by and who to fix it. And if it doesn't happen, this is what we must do. That is what you talked about, implementation. Yes, we have started. The panel of inquiry that has been set up is the first step. I've heard you. We need more representation. There are 12 members today. I've just told the SSG they should be increased to 20 to accommodate those groups that are already present. That panel has 90 days. I've taken my notes, but there is a panel. I'm imploring all of you, document something. Go to that panel and tell them all you've said and even more. Let it be recorded and documented in a report. So we have something, a document, on which we will now move forward. We will now work. So if we have agreed and the panel takes all the evidences, the names you have mentioned, the sections you have mentioned in the police, all of that should be documented. And we now have a public document and a process to now go after these individuals. Let it now be left to us to implement. Those we can implement in Edo, hold us now responsible for implementing those things, the reports of that particular panel, in which you have been represented. There are so many things that have gone wrong. They did not start going wrong today. So it will, like someone said, it will be unrealistic to expect us to fix all of them today or in 4 years. But I tell you, at the base of our problem is the structure we operate in Nigeria. At the base of the security issues in this country, you've addressed it somewhat. You cannot have a federal arrangement which has 3 tiers of government: federal, state, and local government, right? You have the judiciary that reflects the 3 tiers of government. You have the educational system that reflects the 3 tiers of government. You have the health system that reflects the 3 tiers of government. Yet, in security, you only have a centralized security arrangement. It cannot work. It is not working. I have shouted and I have said it in various fora. Our security arrangement in this country must reflect a federal system. Until we get there, we're going to have this sort of crisis. I cannot be a governor of a state and cannot hire or fire my commissioner of police. It doesn't align with the concept of a federation. These have to be changed, but we may not be able to do it immediately. ENDSARS has started that movement. But please, let us now sit back and make sure that what we have started can be seen through to its logical conclusion. Let it not be hijacked What has happened today is, well, I can say a combination of various factors. Some of it deliberate, like I know, what is going on, what's been going on in the last couple of days in the city. Some of it has been sponsored. Some of it has been induced by the harsh and difficult economic environment. And some of it has just been part of the behaviors of the past, where people are not held accountable. People breach laws, they do whatever they like, and they get away with it because they are big men or because they have godfathers. You have helped us start the process of ending godfatherism in our lives and our politics. We must now take it to the next level. There cannot be any sacred cows. The most important thing for us in this country is our constitution and our laws. Nobody, no group of people must be above the constitution and the laws of this country. There are things you have raised. There are things that have to deal with, I would say, sent to the panel, and there are things that have to do with us as government. Those things that have to do with government, fortunately, they are all part of the second-term agenda. I cannot be governor and not include you. I traveled around the 192 wards of these states. Nobody can tell me what's going on anywhere. I know. And one quick way of fixing our challenges is to make sure that we include more of you in how decisions are made. I have made up my mind. I have made up my mind on how and who we are going to hire for this next term. And I'll let you know here today. I have not discussed it with anybody, but 60% of our appointees must be under the age of 40. And the logic is simple. Who are we governing for? Who are we planning for? Is it not for the future? If 20 years ago, they started with what we are doing now with Edo Best, do you think that a lot of these kids today who have no hope will be on the streets? Would they not have been better educated? So we cannot continue the way it has been in the past. It's only a stupid man or stupid father that will not understand that he has to invest in his children, has to starve himself and forsake so much so that the children can do well, because that's his guarantee when he's old, that he will live a happy old life. And that logic has been lost on many of us in this nation. So I want to assure you that there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with your protests. It's legitimate, and I support it. What I am worried about is the level of criminality. Part of the fight we had in our first term, was the issue of just maintaining law and order and criminality. Because a lot of these criminals had the cover of the godfathers. They called them their infantry. They called them their lions and tigers. And you know that without law and order, there cannot be any economic growth. Nobody will invest. And you could see them in the last few days, the way they've come out, pouncing on people's private properties. That's the mentality. The reason, the crisis in Edo is not an ENDSARS one. It's not an ENDSARS one because government supports ENDSARS. The crisis in Edo is political. This is an extension of the elections. We defeated them, and they are looking for a backdoor way of making the state unstable. And I know, just like we defeated them in the elections, As long as we have you, we will contain them. They have escaped from the zoo. We've kept them under the guise of ENDSARS. With my ENDSARS army, we are going to gather them, arrest them, and put them back in the zoo they belong. Like I said, you have raised several issues here. Fortunately, most of the internal issues are things we are already working on and thinking through. There is POWOF. POWOF is our version of Neighborhood Watch. As I speak today, 900 of them are being trained in Ogida police barracks. Another 1,100 are going to be trained after this set, which will make it 2,000. But over and above that, we're going to hire another set, and which will be about 20 people per ward. I'm even thinking that we may even look at doing one per unit that will be in charge of public safety, part of our POWOF arrangements. We don't make noise as a government. So that is why you may not know. But we are just, it's not political. We are training them. We've brought people from even outside of the country to join in the training because it is clear only us can protect us. That is what is becoming obvious. And as your governor, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that we have a strong internal security system and we protect ourselves. Like I said, the issues of a better government, of proper governance, of transparency in government, that is what we're emphasizing. And when we have younger people who can use technology, then we'll have more transparency and accountability. And that is what has informed my decision to make sure I have many more younger people working for government. Before making the broadcast, I decided to consult. I'm going to be making a broadcast tonight. But I wanted to first make sure I have touched base with my base. When I finish, I have another meeting, a Zoom meeting that's on now I have to rush back to. I'm also touching base with the whole spectrum of leadership, religious leaders, traditional leaders, so that we can feel the pulse. Yes, we see ourselves, we see what is going on, but we still need to communicate and reach out to the larger society. Yesterday afternoon, for 6 hours, I was patrolling in company of the DG, the SSG, and the security chiefs. We patrolled the city for 6 hours, from 1 p.m. yesterday to 7. And so I saw for myself firsthand what was going on. It took us almost 1 hour, 1 hour, 20 minutes, from 3rd roundabout to get to the bypass on Sakoba Road. By the time we were coming back again at night, it took us the same amount of time. So I know, nobody can tell me what's going on, the activities of the hoodlums and the people and some of the people who are sponsoring them. We know. What we don't want is for them to hijack a very legitimate and required protests that you have spearheaded. ENDSARS. Underlying all of these challenges is an issue, like this lady said, of economic hardship. Things are tough, and it's going to get tougher because of the way we've managed our economies and run our affairs in the last 40 or more years. It's the reality, it's the fact. COVID has come to unravel all our inadequacies as a people and as a country. We have to now respond. There are no quick fixes. If anyone comes to tell you this is going to be over in a few months, it's a lie. The next 2 to 3 years are going to be tough. But depending on how we manage, we will get out much stronger. Because this country is so blessed. I was listening to Tony Blair, former British Prime Minister, on an interview this morning, and he talks about Nigeria. There are very, very few countries that are as blessed as this country. Even in Edo, what don't we have? But except responsible leadership. Once you, the youths, now protesting, now rise up. Stop pointing fingers at others. You are now becoming leaders. And you'll soon find out that what you are criticizing, you may be criticized of, except you change. The affliction in this country affects us all. So don't say it is them or they, it's us. So in terms of the economy, we're going to continue to push. We're going to focus on priorities. We're going to cut down on waste. Like you said, there is too much waste. What you will do for 100 naira, government will do for 1,000 naira. The same thing. If you don't cut back on waste, there will be no money to do the things we need to do. Thank God for COVID. How many people have traveled this year abroad? So it means that we can live our lives without traveling, isn't it? So for me, I think that we have a window of opportunity. That you have started, that you have opened that window. Please let us not close it. Keep it open. We will continue to dialogue. That's the new way forward anyway. We will continue to dialogue, but we're not going to do things the old way. That is what I can assure you. We're going to be transparent, we're going to be open, and we're going to be honest. There will be a lot of attacks on us, as you have seen, but we will count on you to protect the government that you have installed. Will you? Yes. I believe that I have, in a nutshell, talked about the headline issues, and to assure you that the curfew will be stepped down tonight. Because we've been reasonably assured, from what we did yesterday and today, we've been reasonably assured that the town is now under control. We still have challenges here and there. So we'll step down the curfew, allow people to now go about their daily work. However, the curfew will now be from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. for 72 hours from tomorrow. So, with 72 hours from tomorrow, from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. We'll watch it for 2 days to make sure that we use it in clearing and making sure that there is no resurgence. And I'm hoping that, barring any unforeseen circumstances, by Monday next week, we should be able to return life to normal. I want to end by thanking all of you once again and to assure you that because of what you did on September 19th, I have no choice. Because every politician stands on a platform. The platform I stand on is you. So if you are not with me in government, if you are not part of me, then I stand on nothing. That is why I want to leave you with these parting words. That don't have any doubts. Don't have any iota of doubts. I am not in government to make money. I am not in government for fame. I am in government to serve and serve the next generation. And therefore, it means that you are the reason why I'm in government. If I cannot serve you, I will quit. By the grace of God, we will get out of this a stronger people,